someone who was born and raised in New York City, situations like this were woven into the fabric of our day-to-day life.
Hey! I'm walking here! I'm walking here! Up yours, you son of a bitch! You don't talk to me that way! Get out of here!
Oh, merge! Come on, you got to seize the goddamn gap. People are so goddamn inefficient. Oh, god damn it! I don't care if you're old, seize the gap! You old fat bitch! You fat bitch!
What are you, stupid?
Hey guys, Saeed here, Psychology of Spirituality. Today I want to delve into the complexities of our psychological health through an ecological model. That is, contextualizing our mental apparatus, our beliefs, our feelings, our sense of purpose, and our relationships within the social dynamics of where we live. I will be using this text, Suspicious Minds, by Joel and Ian Gold, which looks specifically at thought disorders such as schizophrenia and other forms of delusional disturbances such as the Truman Show syndrome, based on the 1998 movie with Jim Carrey. But again, as detailed more fully in this article below, and the links to all of the articles, the peer-reviewed research which I'm using for this video, are in the description below, as well as on my website, where I include more blogs and information for you to read to fully broaden your knowledge on these ideas that I discuss here. This form of delusion, Truman Show syndrome, is a cultural offshoot of broad schizoid type symptoms, most notably a loss of common sense or any cognitive filtering. You have other delusional disorders such as Capgras syndrome, in which a hallucinatory person believes a loved one has been replaced by an imposter, erotomania, in which a person believes that someone is in love with them when they aren't, and usually that person is of a much higher status than them, or other clinical accounts of delusions such as people believing 9/11 was staged particularly for them.
Unfortunately, in people with Capgras syndrome, there's a lack of connection between the fusiform area and the amygdala. They can recognize faces, but without the associated emotional response. The love, care, and every emotion they have about this person are not felt.
On all of these accounts, we witness seemingly random or distal events which are magnified and personalized. Let's even take a spiritual example, because that's important, right? Lots of these diagnostic categories are Western based and created in a Western context. In a country such as Pakistan or another non-Western country, a country which operates on a more traditional basis of social culture and has a more metaphysical, supernatural basis of reality, you can have encounters with the divine, seeing angels or having conversations with deceased ones, which do not fit a delusional or hallucinatory disorder. But you can also have someone else who feels that they're being actively persecuted by demons, such as they're seeing jinns, or they're feeling the waswat, the innate whispering of shaitan, the devil. The former being metaphysical, but elevating the person's psycho-spiritual capabilities, whereas the latter leading to drastic impairments and a loss of common sense.
جز من و تو هم هیچ کی تو این خونه نیست.
که از شرشون در امان نیستیم.
So what is common sense? Common sense is defined as the necessary adaptive tool developed to discern contextual cause-effect relationships and consequently direct one's motivational drive. In other terms, common sense refers to a shared preconceptual ability to adequately assess the context and background of any situation or idea. This is why, as a clinician, right now I'm working at a private clinic, as I've fully detailed more in this video right here. Doing an MSE or a mental status exam is very common as part of an intake. And I'm putting an example right here and also in the description below. You as a clinician attempt to gauge fluidity, congruence, and insight, right? How a person thinks, how they analyze. For example, I just did a disability referred psychological evaluation at my current private clinic practicum. That is a person who suffered from an injury or has a previous disability. A stroke in this example that I'm using goes to the DDS, the Disability Determination Services, because that person needs to be evaluated formally to determine if their cognitive ability and other psychological abilities are so impaired that they need financial assistance. Some of the questions we ask through the course of doing this 2-3 hour testing period is, who is the current president of the United States? Name all of the months backwards starting from December. Or if you were cooking and started smelling gas, what would you do? And then you also ask about mood, feelings, social relationships, and then do formal testing through IQ or cognitive measures to understand how the person solves like multi-step, multi-level problem solving and analytical thinking. And I'm putting links below to learn more about IQ testing and its controversy and also its usage in our day-to-day life. Like if you're going into graduate school, MCAT, bar exam, all of those are standardized intelligence testing models.
Look at it and tell me what you see.
I see a bat. A bat or a weasel.
A bat or a weasel?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bat weasel.
Huh. Do you see anything else?
Just a pussy with teeth.
Pussy with teeth.
Yeah.
Next card.
Going back to the question at hand, does living in a city make one crazier? Which, if I'm reformatting that to be a little bit more scientific, does the environment and social dynamics of a city help predict some level of mental illness? Let's begin with the basics. How do we look at psychological illness? In shifting and moving from a biomedical model, as I'm putting right here, reformulating our understanding of a person's psychology from purely biological, that's the medical model, to a nature x nurture interaction, that is an ecological model, or should we say a bioecological model, the assumption is pretty obvious, as detailed in this article right here. Cities are far more congested, have higher rates of pollution, lower socioeconomic status levels, more social disorganization, and more physical threats, leading to an increased sense of physiological arousal. The book, Suspicious Minds, details that even just that, being around so many people, itself can be a catalyst to trigger persecutory delusions, both by people with thought disorders or even people with severe forms of anxiety. It's a protection system that we have which flags false positives left and right. Lots of horror films and art takes those aspects, such as the film Exorcism of Emily Rose, in which the main character is seeing demons, whereas everyone else is just seeing normal people. She's feeling persecuted. Basically, she cannot function in her day-to-day life. I'm including this film specifically because it focuses on the convergence of the mental health and the legal infrastructures when someone is undergoing these psychological and or spiritual disturbances.
And what is your specific area of expertise?
I study the spiritual experiences of people in various cultures and the physiological and psychological changes they undergo during these experiences.
Would it be accurate to say that you specialize in the scientific study of possession?
Yes. Possession is one term for a basic human experience reported by a great number of people all around the world. In my field work, I've seen many people who experienced a sense of being invaded by an entity from the supernatural realm.
I'll also include some relevant clinical examples because I am a practicing PhD psychology intern, and when I worked at the Youth Detention Center, which I talked about more in this video, I did witness and speak with youth who were undergoing acute delusional or hallucinatory disorders. For example, one of the kids kept seeing Spider-Man or some other figure. It was some sort of like Venom appearing far away, like on the other side of his window and then coming close to his window, and he would just spend hours like trying to figure out who this character was. The treatment model, the intake, I detail that much fully on the latest blog on my website. So if you want to learn more about that story and what I did, check that out. You can also sign up on the newsletter in the front page also.